All right, tutorial on how to manage your newsletters on your website. Once you've created your newsletters, of course. Okay, so newsletter administration can be found under Administration, Content Management, and Newsletters. And we'll expand that out. And we can see that there's draft issues, newsletters, sent issues, statistics, and subscriptions. We're going to start off with subscriptions really quickly here, because that'll help us to test all the other stuff. So you can see that as an administrator, we're already subscribed to the Pixel Sweatshop is subscribed to your newsletter. You can remove us if you'd like. It's up to you. The great thing is that we can start to mass subscribe and unsubscribe. We can also export this information. So if you were managing your newsletters in another on an Excel spreadsheet, Word file, or an email, or whatever, you can start to add these in here. So we're just going to add some other user emails so that we can start testing this stuff a little bit later. So let's go. There's user test 2, user test 3. We can add as many as we want here. We can paste in there. We can subscribe to our general newsletter, and let's click subscribe. And once that's done, then we have our subscriptions in there. You can see they were added. And if once an individual has subscribed for a newsletter, they can unsubscribe themselves through the interface of the newsletter itself. It'll give them an unsubscribe link, and once they click unsubscribe, it will remove them from it, and I'll show you that a little bit later. But say they sent you or phoned you up and they were really mad at you because you sent them a newsletter and you weren't supposed to, you could unsubscribe them from here, or the other administration interface. Will go into it later with the subscriptions, but you can unsubscribe them here if you'd like to. We were not going to at the same time, but it's basically the same as the mass subscribe, but you're going to mass unsubscribe. And you can also export them nicely and then take them to, so we can export our active users that are subscribed to the general newsletter and export them. And we click export, get ourselves a nice results, and we can then, if we wanted to, we could even copy that into an email. So I'm just going to open up my email here just for the heck of it and let that load up. Anyways, so let's go back here. We can then go to our list. We can see that there, one second here. Let's connect that up. Okay, let's jump back. Okay, so you can see their email addresses. You can start to manage them. You can inactivate, delete them, that sort of thing, and make sure they're all subscribed to certain. You can start to filter them by certain newsletters if you have multiple newsletter setups. And you can even filter them by email address, and that's really handy. If you get an email from somebody that says, please take my email off it, you can do a quick search, from there. So, pasting this information up here, filtering it will just pull up that one. This could get really handy if you start to get thousands of subscribers to your newsletters. So. That's a quick look at the mass subscribe and unsubscribe and export. We won't look at statistics just yet. Sent issues we won't look at yet because we haven't sent any newsletters. So unless you have been, I don't want to say given permission, as it is probably your site, but please do not add any new newsletters unless you have requested that feature and have been shown how to properly do it. The reason for it is that each newsletter creates its own block. Now, we've just set up a general newsletter for the site. Most people will not need more than one newsletter, so we just leave it as such. But what ends up happening is you create a new newsletter, then there needs to be another block created so that people can subscribe to it. Now, so wait for it unless you have advanced training on getting that. So really just stay out of this area altogether. Draft issues. So already on the site, if you've watched the other videos on how to create a newsletter, there's already been a few that have been created. So what we're going to do is we're just going to quickly edit this one and send it so that, let's take a look here. We're going to go down into our send newsletter. We're going to send it now. I'm going to click save. Now, when you send a newsletter from the website, keep in mind that it says newsletter pending. This means that the newsletter isn't sent yet, and it doesn't get sent immediately. The reason for it is that the system needs to send them out in little packets. So if you have like 1,000 people subscribe to your newsletter, it sends them at 100 at a time. The reason for that, if it tries to send 1,000 at a time, that's too many for the system and will end up getting bogged down. And so we send them in bulk. So it may take a while for your email to get sent, so be patient. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to speed up that process through my administration interface so that we can then take a look at, that's 1 second here. I'm just going to run the cron. Cron is the maintenance task that allows us to make sure that some maintenance is done on Drupal. I won't get into too much of the details of it. I'll probably bore you. Anyways, okay, so it's been sent. Let's take a look at our email here. Let's refresh our email. And there we go. You can see that there's our general newsletter. It's come in. It's January. Oh yeah, there you go. There's our nice newsletter. And let's click one of the links here. Oh, there's no links yet because it's just a default newsletter. So if there's a link here, someone would click it, and then that will make sense when we go back here, and then we go into our newsletters, and we go into our statistics. We can see that it will list all the newsletters that have come out, and there's a nice title and what newsletter category it falls under, the date it was created, how many people it was sent to, the open rate at 0%, and the click-through rate at 0%. So this is the number of people that have actually opened your newsletter, and this is the number of people that have actually clicked through, say, back to your site and that sort of thing. So let's go into the details here. Now you can see that there's no statistics available yet because they're, again, the open rate and the click-through rate is again run on the maintenance task. So in due time you'll see that there will be full statistics for this, and you can see who opened it. It'll show like who their email address, what their email address is, the last time they opened it, how many times they opened it, which is really nice statistics to understand who's reading your stuff and who's not. Don't be surprised if you don't see a lot of people open your newsletter. It's not because the newsletter didn't go through. Sometimes it will go through, just get missed. I might even end up in a spam folder of theirs, that sort of thing. So having an open rate of 20 to 30% is actually pretty average from what we have seen. So don't get discouraged. Very important that you spend some time on making your content really good. Don't send newsletters like every day. It can get a little overwhelming for individuals, and they'll just end up dismissing your stuff. So let's go back in here to our content management and our newsletters, and then we can see that that newsletter that we just sent will show up in here in our sent issues, and then we can see that it's been published and sent, and so then we can start to differentiate between our draft issues that haven't been sent and our sent issues. So that pretty much covers it. Get in there, play with it, see what it's all about, and check out the tutorial on actually creating a newsletter in the other screencast video. Thank you very much for watching.